Welcome back to an OTOME and Chill. We're playing Hakuoki Kyoto Winds today. I'm really excited to play this. It's been on my wish list for quite a while, and I know there's another game to come after, so honestly, let's just jump into the shit, okay? This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, but... So this is Kyoto. It was awfully impressive, no denying it. Even simple hellos between people passing in the street seemed warm and friendly. They nodded and smiled to one another as if family and not strangers about on errands. Still, there was something else as well. Something making the city feel strangely cold. Almost as though there was a great invisible wall shutting out anyone wandering from the country. I'm not sure if I belong here. No, that's all in my head. I walked quite some distance to reach Kyoto, and both my mind and body were exhausted. Even so, tiredness was no reason to meander and feel sorry for myself. I couldn't afford to. Excuse me. I hesitantly stopped the passerby. I'm sorry, I seem to be a bit lost. Could you... What am I supposed to do now? I was lost again, but in a different sort of way. I sighed and looked up at the darkening sky. The sun was beginning to set. People I'd spoken to showed me no unkindness, and they'd given me directions I needed, but Was now really the best time to leave the city? What is going on? Learning the person I'd hoped to visit had left town caused hope to seep from my crumbling resolve. The only person besides father I could rely on in the city who I could rely on. Mr. Matsumoto was a doctor serving the shogunate. I never met him myself, but my father put a great deal of trust in the man. He had told me that if I ran into any trouble in his absence, I was to contact Dr. Matsumoto. Unfortunately, Dr. Matsumoto was out on business and would not return for some time. Was I too hasty? Perhaps I should have waited. It is indeed rude to visit without warning, which is why I had sent a letter prior to my arrival, but it seems he had left before reading my letter. Perhaps, I thought, I should have waited for a reply before traveling to an unfamiliar city. Well, duh, bitch. But I can no longer spend time waiting idly for news. What do you mean you should have waited? Well, duh. The main character of this story, she travels to Kyoto in search of her father, and she consequently finds herself involved with the Shinsengumi. Shinsengumi. My bad if I'm mispronouncing that. Dia. Is something wrong, father? He paused for a moment and looked at me.
実はな、しばらくの間、京の都へ行くことになった。
Is it for business again? He'd left the house often during that period, sometimes for days at a time. How long will you be gone?
それはわからん。一月になるか、二月になるか。
There was no hiding my disappointment. Nonetheless, I wasn't a child anymore. I couldn't beg him not to go, or some other foolishness. Yes, I'd be lonely, but I was much more worried for him. Please, father, be careful. They say that the city of Kyoto is dangerous. He only smiled and nodded.
安心しなさい。お前が心配しないように。京にいる間はできる限り手紙を書くよ。
Okay, you promise? Father kept his promise. A new letter arrived so often I scarcely had the time to respond before another would arrive. He told me that he worried about me being home all by myself. Then the letters stopped. A whole month passed with no word. Father. They say Kyoto is full of ronin, samurai who have left their master or who have been stripped of their privileges. It can also refer to a samurai who does not have a master to serve. It is not a safe place. Usually a samurai is paid by their house, but refers to the domain or clan that a samurai serves. It can also be used after a fashion to refer to the specific person a samurai serves. Ronin who report to no house often rob people in order to make ends meet. They're nothing more than violent criminals who hide behind the image of the samurai. Such is the state of the city of Kyoto, the city of Ronin. Small wonder, then, that I worry for my father. My mind would concoct horrible possibilities, and I often found myself depressed and tense. First, I suppose I need to find a place to stay. Lost in thought, I didn't notice nightfall descend. If I was honest with myself, I hadn't the faintest idea of how long searching for him would take. I'd brought a negligible sum of money with me, enough to last me a month if used wisely. Finding father in this window of time was a must. Otherwise, I would have depended on Dr. Matsumoto returning in this time, or else I'd be forced to return home without a word. Well, at any rate, I should try and be as frugal as possible. I lengthened my stride and set off on my path. Fortunately for me, men's clothing assisted with keeping a quicker pace than women's. Kyoto presented many dangers to a young girl hoping to explore the city without direction. My disguise, such as it was, proved successful, and I'd safely made it all the way to Kyoto. Such success went to my head and led me to believe I could explore Kyoto as I pleased. But Kyoto is not a safe place. I should have remembered that. Instead, I had somehow convinced myself that the city's hidden dangers didn't apply to me.
Oi, そこの小僧。
Who, bitch? You're not talking to me. I was about to discover otherwise. I spun around. In the street in front of me were the 3 Ronin. Can I help you? I know she didn't say it like that, but can I help you? I did my best to keep my voice calm, reaching nonchalantly for my kadachi. Originally a short katana, by the end of the Edo period it referred to a large wakizashi. It was usually worn as half of a pair with a larger sword, such as a katana. So basically 2-sword style, right? He knows what I'm talking about. My father encouraged me to take sword lessons. I'd kept with them, and I did rather well. I was confident enough in defending myself. However, perhaps my overconfidence in myself is what served the situation at hand. I'd messed up and let my guard down. My fault. There was a chance I could take them on, but there were 3 of them. And one of
ガキのくせにいいもん持ってんじゃねえか。
Thanks, buddy. Only then did I realize they were far more interested in my sword than they were.
小僧には過ぎたもんだろ。
よこせ。国。
Oops. But the sword wasn't just some blade I'd picked up. It was a family heirloom spanning generations. There was no way I could give it to the Ronin. Though I had a feeling they wouldn't understand. In such a situation, the best decision was undoubtedly to retreat. Oh, bitch took off. She took off, damn. I turned and ran as fast as my legs could.
おい、待ちやがれ小僧。
Ooh, hit that corner. Gosh, they sure don't give up easily, do they? I felt like I'd been running for quite a while, but I could still hear the Ronin cursing loudly. I ducked into an alley, flattening against the wall. After deciding they were too close, I crept farther into the alley. Someone left a couple sheets of wood leaning against one of the houses. A perfect hiding spot. What luck, I thought, kneeling down under them. This is my way to escape this mess. Huh? I was listening for sounds intently. A suspicious calm entered my mind. I had expected to hear the Ronin yelling to each other, looking for me, but seconds turned into minutes. I heard nothing. I was about to sneak out and have a look. Ooh. What? My plan to investigate was immediately halted.
やりやがったな。
くそ、なんで死なねえんだよ。ダメだ、こいつら刀が効かねえ。
It was then that true fear began to set in. There was something dangerous out there, something quite possibly lethal. My imagination conjured up no shortage of gruesome theories. Even so, I could feel an itch of curiosity. I wanted to know what was out there. Carefully, I peeked around the corner's edge. The cold reflection of moonlight upon a blade glared at me, and my eyes followed it to the arm that held it, clad in a coat of light blue. Had this person saved me? But no slower than it appeared, my hope vanished. What the fuck is that? Is that what just moved right there? Bro, what is that? I heard the Ronin stumbling to beg for his life. The person in the blue coat said nothing, just stepped forward, his sword raised. Saw the gang! A high screeching laugh cut the man's scream. The blade fell through the air like a butcher's knife rather than a sword. No skill, just death. The scream turned wet, caught and disappeared like air leaving half-empty bellows. My eyes went wide. I had just witnessed a murder. Any strength I'd received vanished quickly. My legs gave way and I crumbled to the ground. My eyes widened like busted shells. He died with the first blow, but as I watched, the blades fell, carving lines into the corpse. The soft slip of the blade through flesh, the silent creep of blood across ground. I felt nothing from them but madness. Their only desire was raw, animalistic violence. Whatever there were, it wasn't human. They were broken. Bitch, why are you making noise? Don't fucking make noise! You gonna make noise? I could feel my throat clenched tightly, and a warm, dark smell brushed against my face. I slowly recognized the coppery tank of blood. The icy bolt of fear ran through my spine, crawling into my limbs and freezing me in place. I was terrified. What was I going to do? What could I do? Cover your eyes and put your fingers in your ears. You have to run. Run? What? He don't know I'm here? I forced my jaw open and drew a ragged I forced my something and ragged breath. This was the only chance I'd get. I had to. Stupid. My body, still numb with fear, was unresponsive. I lurched sideways against the stacked wood, and with a rough clatter, it collapsed. What the fuck is going on? I thought I was playing a romance game. What is going on here? I couldn't die yet, but my legs refused to move. Their hideous cackling laughter echoed. I was gonna die. Holy shit. I was not expecting this. My body was frozen with terror. I couldn't even scream. This was it. This was the end. I watched them raise their bloody swords, the moon glinting off the metal. Then there was a flash of light and the soft splash of blood. I could feel it, warm and sticky. Bile began to rise in my throat, but before disgust took hold, I heard a voice. Who saved me?
Hello,
Prince Charming? Hopefully. Hey, I don't know. This game might be taking a weird turn. The words suggested disappointment, but the voice sounded happy. And here I was planning to take care of them all. Can't you have picked another day to work fast, Saito? As he spoke, the strange man smiled, almost as if he were enjoying himself.
俺は務めを果たすべく動いたまでだ。うわ、ひどい言い草だな。まるで僕が戦闘狂みたいだ。否定はしないのか。
The man called Saito sighed with the air of a long-suffering companion and looked at me.
でもさ、あいつらがこの子を殺しちゃうまで黙って見てれば、僕たちの手間も省けたんじゃないかな。
His tone was light, but it confirmed my fears. I may have escaped the schemes of the Ronin, but I was ensnared by something much much darker.
さあな、少なくともその判断は俺たちが下すべきものでは
Huh? What the fuck is going on? Then who was in charge of these two? Their conversation led me to believe they were part of an organization. As I thought about it, I recalled hearing about men with blue coats. Ah! My thoughts were interrupted by a dark shape sliding into view. Purple eyes, purple eyes, purple eyes. I swallowed hard. Yep, look, this is the one. Look, this is the character. This is our man, guys. Calling it from the jump. I swallowed hard. The moonlight shone off his... See, look. Can't talk no more. Starstruck. I swallowed hard. The moonlight shone off his smooth, dark hair. For reasons I couldn't fathom. In that moment, the light on his hair made me think of the wistfulness of flower petals. Okay. It was almost as if the cherry trees were blooming out of season.
運のないやつだ。
His voice was cold and quiet, like a blade of ice. Blue-white moonlight lit his slender face and shone from the blade pointed at my chest. But it wasn't the sword making my breath catch. Called it. It was his eyes. They were fierce and hard, but somewhere behind them, I could catch a glimpse of something else. There can be no doubt that he was prepared to kill me, and yet he looked troubled. Not kindness, but perhaps mercy. It's giving fourth
いい
wing.
か、逃げるなよ。背を向ければ切る。
I nodded. There was no doubt he meant every word he said. He stared at me for a moment, then grimaced. He put his sword away, sighing. What? I was too surprised to stop myself from speaking, and it quickly became apparent that I wasn't the only one.
あれいいんですか土方さん。この子さっきの見ちゃったんですよ。
As he spoke to the man he called Hijikata. His eyes narrowed.
いちいち余計なことを喋るんじゃねえよ。下手な話を聞かせちまうと始末せざるを得なくなるだろうが。
It was clear enough that what I'd seen was something they wanted to keep hidden. The more they said, the more I got it, and it was clear none of us wanted
この
such
子
a
を
thing.
生かしておいても厄介なことにしかならないと思いますけどね。
The way he looked at me made me feel as if he read my mind.
とにかく殺せばいいってもんじゃねえだろ。こいつの処分は帰ってから決める。
俺は副長の判断に賛成です。ここに
Then he looked down at the creature he killed, as though he'd forgotten the whole
こう
ordeal.
も血に狂うとは、やはり実務に使える代物ではないようです。
頭の痛え話だ。
See, that was a lot of words just to say damn. I don't know if that was right. He peered down at the corpse, his face an emotionless mask. When he looked back up at his companions, however, his eyes narrowed.
つうかお前ら、土方とか副長とか呼んでんじゃねえよ。せろ。
Did you hear him? Hijikata. I heard him say Hijikata.
へえ伏せるも何もこの大服を着てる時点でバレバレだと思いますけど。
He was right. Even I had heard stories about a gang of cruel men in blue coats who cut people down in the streets, but I didn't know how to confront the dilemma. I didn't know how to confront the dilemma of pretending I didn't see any of these horrors. My mind swirled through a pool of worries and thoughts, almost as if I was being drawn into their world. A world where there is nothing strange in carrying on a normal conversation in the dead of night with corpses for
死
company.
体の処理はいかように。肉体的な異常は特に現れていないようですが。
Hijikata thought for a moment before he spoke.
羽織だけ脱がせとけ。あとは観察の方で何とかする。
承知しました。
新選組の大使が切り殺されてるなんて僕たちにとっても一大事ですしね。
He gave a derisive bark of laughter.
あとはここにいた奴が黙ってりゃ世間も勝手に納得してくれるだろうよ。
He looked directly at me, and I got the distinct feeling his words weren't for his companions. It was common for people to be murdered in Kyoto. It was a dangerous city after all. I knew that, of course. But to see it happen? That's something else entirely. No period. If death was such an easy thing in Kyoto, I thought, then the city itself must surely be mad.
ねえ、ところでさ、助
I didn't realize right away he was speaking to me. When I did, his eyes went wide. What did you mean you saved me? Well, he did have a point. Despite their threats, they saved my life. I stood up as steadily as I could manage, brushed some dirt off my clothes, and bowed. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu. I apologize for not thanking you earlier. There was so much going on. I was a little confused. I glanced up at them tentatively. The man called Hajime also looked confused. His eyes were wide and he had an expression I couldn't place. Hijikata looked as though he'd taken a bite of something sour. I sighed deeply before continuing. I know it seems weird to say that, but he told me I should say thanks, so... I looked up. Saito and Hijikata both stared pointedly at anything but me, and the third man was shaking with laughter.
ごめんごめん。そうだよね。僕が言ったんだもんね。
He broke out in laughter again, so much that he was forced to wipe a few tears from his eyes as he straightened up. He's gonna have to catch some hands, bro. He pissed me off.
どういたしまして。僕は沖田総司と言います。礼儀正しい子は嫌いじゃないよ。
Oh yeah, they don't even know I'm a girl. Thank you for helping me. Not quite sure what else to do. I bowed again.
君を助けてくれたのが斎藤はじめくん。それでこっちの偉そうなのが
わざわざ紹介してんじゃねえよ。
副長、お気持ちはわかりますが、まず移動を。
Whatever mirth was inspired was gone. The man called Saito now spoke with quiet urgency. Saito gotta be like 5'5", bro. Look at how short he is compared to the other guys. The man named Okita. The man named Okita grabbed hold of my wrist, smiled, and led us down the street. His grip was a touch too tight to be friendly, his fingers like iron cables around my arm. There was no question about my situation. I quickly picked up on the notion that if I were to run, I would be killed instantly. My life was in the hands of these strange men. I set my jaw and stood up straight as I could. My eyes crept up from the blood-stained coat and met Saito's gaze.
己のために最悪を想定しておけ。さしていいようには転ばない。
His words were like a dagger in my stomach. What was going to happen to me? Was I going to die? As we walked through the bleak Kyoto night, I felt horror crawl its way up my spine once again. The cause of my horror wasn't the gruesome end that awaited me, but something else entirely. I spoke with these men and watched them speak, standing next to a warm corpse soaked in blood. That I had done such a thing terrified me in an altogether way. Perhaps this is what it's like to go mad. Okay.
く愛おしき人がごと出されども背負う夢はあまりに重くただ見守るもどかしさこの胸にしまいて今宵も祈る運命分け合いたいもし許されるなら明日の手がかりはその背中ついの時まで空へ空へ瑠璃の空へ向かい開く夢よ闇に燃え盛る夜桜よ咲け鮮やかに
Thank you for tuning in. This was just the first episode, so hopefully you guys will watch the rest. If you guys like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Bye, besties.